This is a mindfuck movie that has caused huge controversy after it was released. The previous hour may make us feel like a bad movie, but in the last 30 minutes, it twisted and made people shout, "I'm freaking love this." Today, Jackie come to share about this movie on demand by numerous fans. The movie, The Cabin in the Woods. It is also known as the Gala of American Monsters. The movie started, a car was slowly moving forward on a desolate suburban road. The young men and women sitting were talking enthusiastically. Only the girl in the back seat, Dana, was unhappy. That day she was confessing to a guy. She sent a text message to her crush, but she was ruthlessly rejected. "Dana, you are a nice person." After receiving the good person card, Dana was heartbroken. Then she followed her friends to relax outside. Dana didn't know that as the car drove through the narrow tunnel, there was a transparent barrier that prevented all any approaching creatures. 5 young people had already fallen into an evil trap. Just when they visited the cabin enthusiastically, Holden realized something was wrong. Behind the penetrating paintings, there was a single-sided mirror hidden. Through the mirror was Dana in the next room. Her graceful posture can be seen. Holden stopped her at a critical moment. He also thoughtfully swapped the room with her. Dana blocked the mirror in fear. In fact, her every action had long been observed by others. Gary and Steve were sitting in front of the monitor telling other departments to pay attention to the replacement of number 2 and number 4, kept following them, and adjust the time for the live broadcast. Don't let your guard down. This was not a reality show in Truman. They were planning a bloody sacrifice. Dana and others were the chosen victims. The members of the mysterious organization opened the bet about the upcoming carnage, guessing which monsters the slaughtered victim would fall into. When Dana and others were lured into the basement by traps set up in advance, this much-anticipated gambling game had also begun. In the dim basement, the yellow diary attracted the girls' attention. Dolor Supervisor Caro. Dolor Sublimus Caro. Dolor Ignio Anivos. When Dana slowly read the sentences, everyone in the Underground Institute was ecstatic. It was the zombie family. The person who chose the zombie family won. Yes, Dana's spell had awakened the monsters in the dark. The brainless zombies which were mentally retarded were about to be massacred. The young couple making out outside were the first to be attacked. The blade stretched out in the dark slammed into Jules' palm. Seeing the girls got dragged 40 meters closely behind, Kurt saw her head was executed and ran away. Steve in the institute pulled down the gate without changing his face, and the blood dripped into the circle. The first sacrifice was announced. At the same time, Marty, who had just used drugs, was in the hut, heard something in a daze. He was about to go out to check but ran into Kurt, who just escaped for his life. Fucking run. As soon as the voice fell, the female zombie with a broken belly was killed. Before Kurt could explain, the bloody head of Jules explained everything. "We've gotta get out of here." Kurt calmly ordered to seal this place up. "Every door and window must be blocked. No matter what happens, we have to stay together." Hearing this, Steve, who was in charge of monitoring, panicked. Is this guy a cop or something? Why didn't they follow the routine? In horror movies, they must go separately. If not, there'd be no horror movie. Fortunately, Gary was well prepared. After the gate was opened, the anesthetic entered the hut along the pipeline and drugged Kurt to suddenly change his words. "This isn't right. We should split up. We can cover more ground that way. You guys, get in your rooms. Lock them in." But as soon as they entered the house, the door was ruthlessly locked. Panicked Marty accidentally knocked over the lamp and found a pinhole camera inside. "Oh, my god. I'm on a reality TV show." Before Marty could tell others about the discovery, the zombie outside the window broke the glass and dragged him outside. Hearing heart-piercing screams from the depths of the jungle, nervous Steve finally let out a sigh of relief and immediately pulled down the second valve. Greatest show on earth. There were only a few left. However, in the moment of life and death, how can normal people sit and wait? Seeing the zombies approaching, Kurt quickly broke the single-sided mirror and saved Dana into his house. Fortunately, he found a door leading to the basement. The zombies were chasing behind. Dana had to pick up the iron rod and madly stabbed the zombies 88 times until the zombies stopped moving. 3 people hurriedly got into the car and fled from this place of the right way. Want to escape? How silly. Everything is in the plan. When Gary was being so proud, he received the news. Sadako in Japan was turned into frogs by a group of 9-year-old girls. The Minotaur in Buenos Aires was tortured to death. The monsters in Madrid were blown to pieces. Around the world, sacrifices all failed, only the US branch still had the possibility of success. If nothing happened unexpectedly, until these 5 people died, this year's KPI assessment award would belong to him. But the next second, his dream was awakened by reality. The only tunnel that can enter and exit was blown up for some reason. Instead, the gate was opened for them to escape. Gary had no time to accuse his subordinates. He immediately connected the line with bare hands. The firelight instantly made the tunnel explode. The gate collapsing cut off the escape route of 3 people. Looking at the exit at the other end of the cliff, Kurt had a flash of an idea. He took the motorbike, thinking it could manage to get to the other side. "I've done bigger jumps than this. If I wipe out, I'll fucking limp for help." Unfortunately, Kurt flew towards the cliff with all his strength, but the motorbike flying in the air hit the invisible barrier. They saw Kurt with sparks and lightning falling down the cliff. Seeing this scene, Dana collapsed and cried. "We can't run away." At this time, there were only Dana and Holden left. Holden wanted to turn back to find a way out. As a result, they were ambushed in the car. The pierced zombies led the car into the lake. Although Dana on the co-pilot was not drowned, she was attacked again in the ground. When she was struggling, everyone in the institute had already held a carnival party. According to their thought, the virgin's death is optional as long as it's last. But at this moment, the phone rang. The director asked, "What did you do?" Except for Dana, there was still other alive. Gary turned to surveillance in disbelief. The man who killed the zombie in the dark showed his true face. Marty, who should have died, was still alive. Not only was he alive, he also saved Dana in time and took her to hide in the grave in the forest. Heading to the mutilated zombie remains, he discovered something. It was an elevator. Somebody sent those dead F** up here to get us. Do we want to go down? Up to now, they had no other way out except to find out the truth. As the elevator slowly descended, the sight that came into view made them numb. The resentful werewolf Van Helsing, raising and eating human ghosts, the ballet girl with leech face. There were thousands of monsters here. It was simply a giant haunted house. They made us choose. Dana suddenly realized with the monsters in the basement, they made us choose how we die. She clenched her teeth and knocked on the glass window, venting anger in silence. The institute on the other side also turned into a mess. If the ceremony failed, they'd also die without a place to be buried. Things had progressed to this point, beyond everyone's expectations. The security guard was sent to kill Marty also became dead by zombies. The two escaped the catastrophe and headed to the institute. They heard a sound on the radio. "Forgive us. It's our task to placate the Ancient Ones. As it's yours to be offered up to them. And let us get it over with. *T, I can't help it." Sensing the danger approaching, Dana hid in the operation room. Looking at the thousands of monsters in the surveillance, she closed her eyes and pressed the switch. Army of nightmares, huh? With a ding sound, the elevator doors opened. The monsters from horror films were all out. The carnival of killing spree began. The institute became a purgatory on Earth. Hearing the screams from everywhere, Dana and Marty walked through the secret door into the dungeon. The blood-stained murals were very strange. Dana became confused. This is part of a ritual. But why did they choose us? Because this is the standard feature of horror movies. The director appearing behind explained. The whore, the athlete, the scholar, the fool, and you, the virgin, all suffer and die at the hands of the Ancient Ones. As long as they accept our sacrifice, they remain below. If you live to see it, the world will end. The sun is coming up in 8 minutes. Marty must die. She must sacrifice Marty to save the Earth. What a deal. Dana was almost convinced by the woman, but then the werewolf attacked her from behind. Thanks to Marty's quickly pulled the trigger, she was still alive. The director wanted to take advantage of the situation, but was witty counter killed. He swept his leg and ruined the altar. The roar of the underground creatures came out. Humanity, it's time to give someone else a chance. The two people leaned disheartened on the steps and waited quietly for the end of the world. Unbelievable creativity, subversive plot setting, unusual ending, and swarming monsters. It's not difficult to find the same routine as a horror movie like The Cabin in the Woods. A cell phone with no signal, a collapsed tunnel, dead supporting roles, a brainless character, and the protagonist who is willing to sacrifice to save the Earth. But in this movie, he said that I'm not. Fuck it, let it be done together. It is precise because of this kind of anti-routine plot makes the eyes of the audience interested and became addicted. Okay, that's all for today's movie. If you want to watch but dare not watch any movies, just tell me in a private message. I am Jackie. The next video will be more exciting.